Hi, my name is Amy. Thank you very much for watching, and let's make some bad financial decisions together. This is for entertainment purposes only, so if you're entertained, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. So I am still in Coronado and doing that networking event. So I thought it would be fun to do something a little bit different than normal. When I thought that I was going to do the Disney cruise, I had an idea where we would pick an acronym for an investing portfolio and try to come up with the best tickers to go into that portfolio. The inspiration for that is that in programming, we have something called the mean stack, MEAN, and it stands for Mongo, Express, Angular, and Node. And every front end developer knew that acronym and what it stood for. And so it got adapted in some other ways, like MERN, Mongo, Express, React, Node. Like people kept trying to make other acronyms to describe that basically a portfolio of programming languages, but mean stuck because everybody knows what mean is. So I was thinking about that though, and I was thinking the way that I invest with high income ETFs, I'm going to need a really long acronym, something like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. But I also don't want to get copyrighted. So I was trying to come up with a made up fun word to be our acronym that could catch on. And what I came up with was Superglass Canon Speedy Nav Decay. And so I used the same song genre as Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious and created this song about this portfolio that I made up. And I made the acronym before I found the tickers for it. And so it just wound up, I put way too much effort into this for today. That was basically a long-winded way to say I have no life and put way too much effort into that. So let me know if you like this. And so next time I go on a work trip or vacation, we can just try out new acronyms and you can tell me, we can come up with things together and just try to figure out an acronym to describe a portfolio of high income ETFs that we might actually want to do. So I chose SPY-T first, then ULTI, then PLATI, then EGGI, and RDTE. So with just these here, we have the S&P 500. We have something that is more income, but more IV and less NAV stable. Then we have our conviction with Palantir. EGGI is not quite the S&P 500, but it does pay high income and it is based off of the 50 big tech companies. So it's also a super reliable pick. And then we have RDTE, which it has more implied volatility because it's the Russell 2000. It's a small cap. People keep saying that its time to shine is coming soon and it has more implied volatility, but it has been lagging. So maybe it would be something to include in the super thing. And then we have GLASS, GPTY, LFGY, AIPI, SPY-I, and SDTY. So you don't really need SPY-T, SPY-I, and SDTY in the same portfolio because they're all the S&P 500. But it is possible for SPY-I to do better on, like, if there's a roaring day up, and then SPY-T generally pays more distribution. So maybe you do want both, even though they're practically the same thing. But this one's good because you have AI focused ones with GPTY and AIPI. But then you also have crypto related things with LFGY, and then you have the S&P 500. So this could be a complete, we could have our GLASS portfolio. And then we have Canon, which is Chippy, AMD, MV2, MVDY, OMA, and MVDW. So in this portfolio, I would probably do, because NVIDIA, Chippy, AMD, these are all AI except for OMA. So I'd probably do like 60% OMA and 40% this crazy one. So this one is a little bit too leaning towards just AI for me if we're just going to take Canon as a separate acronym. Then we have Speedy, which is SLJY, PyPy, Echo, ETH, DIPS, and YSpy. So this one's interesting because, well, YSpy is a leveraged S&P 500, which I'm a fan of, and it also has silver and Ethereum. So this is like the altcoin part of the portfolio. And so this could be interesting because silver I don't think is going to go down to zero, but it is more implied volatility than gold, so it could be, fine. And so we have DIPS and PyPy. They are, actually that's PayPal, so it's not even, that's just like a random conviction stock in there. And then DIPS is a inverse of NVIDIA, so maybe as a standalone, Speedy does not make sense. But you could switch out DIPS and DISO for like the Disney stock and have PyPy and Disney in there as the same thing because they're both plays on things that are not Bitcoin. But yeah, this one could be a favorite section for people because it has Ethereum and silver in it. Then we have NAV, which is MVYY, AMZY, and VIG. And VIG is wondering, it does not want to be included in this narrative. Why was it put in there? Because we don't have any high income ETFs that start with the letter V. So I think this is actually a well-balanced thing because AMZY it has less of a distribution, but it is a pretty stable and like going to be around company. Amazon. NVYY is NVIDIA. It has slightly higher implied volatility. It's AI. So in the 6-year cycle, I'm expecting the growth to be more than Amazon, but still have a really good distribution. And then VIG is just the Vanguard income growth. It's their not income, but high dividend. So that's just a plain old dividend stock that has growth momentum. So it's more traditional that we have got that going for us. And then we have DISO, EggQ, Coney, AMYY, and YMAX. So we have Disney and Coinbase and AMD. So it doesn't make that much sense either. I was just struggling to find things that started with the letter D. And then EggQ is like Eggy, but it is with, I think it's with the NASDAQ, but I think it pays less than Eggy. But anyways, I like YMAX out of all this. So yes, we have the Super Glass Cannon Speedy Navigate as our acronym to remember what should we be investing in. Just out of nowhere though, did you know that Testful.io has a 25 ticker limit? I did not know that before now. So I took 25 of the stocks, and if you just did 4% in everything, that's 100% if you have 25 of them. And then I did like a quarter in SpyT and just basically tried to weigh them the way that they probably should be traditionally. And then I tested it against just 100% in the S&P 500. And so the results of this is if you were just in VU in this time period, which is from September of this year, because some of these funds are very new. So you would have $10,060, which is still positive. But in the probably properly weighted portfolio, you have $10,303. And then in the just equal weight everything, you have $10,309. So once you have 25 things in your portfolio, some could argue like you're on your way for it to being properly diversified anyway. They say with single stocks, you have like 40 to 60 single stocks in your portfolio, you're properly diversified anyways. So it'll be interesting. We're probably never going to revisit this, but if we do, given enough time, I think that instead of overfitting if you have conviction in Ethereum and silver and all of these single stock ETFs, it can just be equal weight. You don't have to make it that complicated. And since they're higher conviction, higher implied volatility, higher growth things, and if you keep it properly balanced and you rebalance it every quarter, then you could do it. You could just have an equal weight in everything and it'll work out for you, maybe. So we'll think of better and probably shorter acronyms and use funds that actually make sense in these. But I was just amused by supercalifragilisticexpialidocious as like a acronym that we can use to describe high income investing, because you know me and I am pretty familiar with my audience, where why be in just 3 ETFs when you can properly manage and keep track of them, when you can be in 50 of these things and have like 3 shares of each of them. But it's more exciting to be in a little bit of everything than just in a few things. And even when they do have the same underlyings, they do have different trading strategies. So different things will do better in different circumstances. So having more and more diversity is a way to protect yourself. Anyways, let me know if you like this. Let me know what acronyms I should be trying for next time. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.